David and Uriah. Well, who was Uriah? Well, Uriah was Bathsheba's husband. He was an elite soldier in King David's army, and he was a man of great leadership abilities in the army. He was a well-respected man, and he did what the Lord wanted him to do. He was referred to as one of the mighty men of Israel. He may have been with King David when he was hiding in the caves. We don't know for sure, but it is possible, considering he was in the army. He could have been with David when he was on the run. But what's going on here? Well, basically, King David was sitting out on his balcony, and he looked out and he saw his wife Bathsheba taking a bath, and he lusted after her, and he had an affair with Uriah's wife Bathsheba. And she became pregnant because of this. So in order to cover this up, he tries to get Uriah to come home. He says, go to your wife. And Uriah, he follows the law. They weren't supposed to do that really when they were serving in the army. And he was also a soldier, and he was mostly concerned about his men, and he didn't want to abandon them in time of war and battle could be going on. He wanted to be with them, to support them in that. And David never could get Uriah to go home to his wife, so he feels like he has to sit down and take care of the problem in the only way he knows how. And that is to write a letter to Uriah's commander to make sure Uriah dies in battle. Basically, the plan was, he says, put Uriah in the thickest fighting you can find and withdraw from him in the thickest fighting and make sure that he dies that way. Abandon him in battle, basically. That's what David has written on this letter, and that he then hands to Uriah. And if you look at this image of David handing Uriah the letter, you can look at David's face, and you can tell that he's deeply troubled and sorrowed because of his sin. His sin has caused him to do this, to sacrifice his own faithful servant just because of his own selfish desires. Selfishness brings sorrows, and if you look at David's face here, you can definitely see that there are many sorrows there. He's troubled, grieved, and just terribly. I'm sure he was not sleeping well during this time. And then you look at the scribe. The scribe, you wonder what he's thinking. He's just looking on, and he's got his pen up, and he's probably like, I really wish I didn't know what is going on here. He probably is wondering whether or not he should write it down. And if you can see, he doesn't actually have the pen on the paper. He hasn't written it down. David may have told him to keep this off the record, because this is something that's going to affect David's reputation big time if it gets out that he had an affair and that he is willingly and knowingly intentionally killing Uriah because of something he did, especially when it's something against God's commands. Anything could happen because of this. And then the next thing to look at in this photo is Uriah, the good, faithful servant that was faithful to both David and to God and to his wife. He doesn't even know that this is going on, and he's having to deliver his own death warrant to his commander as part of his duty. Now think about how corrupt that is. That's not good. He's innocent. Uriah is innocent and faithful. So, basically, he delivers that letter to his commander, and he's killed in battle. And then David takes his wife. To sum all this up, this is the way it's basically played out. If you look at this photo here, it's a picture of a rich man stealing a poor man's sheep. The rich man has everything he wants, but yet he finds this poor man with this little sheep. The poor man, it's basically all he has. He has this little sheep, and he loves this sheep. He owns this sheep. It belongs to him, and he has provided for this sheep, and he's protected it, and he's definitely put a lot of energy into taking care of this sheep. It's what he loves. And this rich man just comes up to him and takes his sheep and kills the poor man. That's exactly what David did to Uriah. Selfishness brings sorrows, and David was grieved I'm sure for the rest of his life because of this event. And we need to remember this whenever we decide to do something we shouldn't. What effect is it going to have on us, mentally and emotionally and physically? And importantly, it's also to remember what effect it will have on other people.